From Keene in the Shire, the Liberty Media capital of the world, this is Daryl W. Perry, host of FPP Radio News for Tuesday, September 8th, 2015. Silver is trading at $14.53 per ounce. Gold is valued at $1,121 per ounce. And according to BitcoinAverage.com, the average price of Bitcoin is $243. Antiwar.com reports Saudi Arabia has announced plans to send huge reinforcements into Yemen to conquer the remaining cities under the control of the Shiite Houthi forces as they and other Gulf Cooperation Council member nations, GCC, plan to send thousands more ground troops into the country to escalate the ongoing war. Qatar is the first of the GCC nations talking numbers, announcing they are sending 1,000 ground troops into the country, along with 30 Apache attack helicopters and 200 armored vehicles. Bahrain is also talking up sending more troops. The number of foreign troops in Yemen is not known at this time. The pro-Saudi forces control parts of southern Yemen, including the temporary capital city of Aden. The Houthis control virtually the entire north of the country, and while they are referred to as rebels by the GCC, the war is increasingly boiling down to a Houthi-led north versus GCC-led south, with the country in a state of de facto separation. For over 35 years, Robertson Roberts has been a trusted source for buying and selling your investment-grade precious metals. They also take Bitcoin for precious metal purchases and permanently removed the minimum purchase order for all orders paid in the digital currency. Call Robertson Roberts today for knowledgeable advice on investing and a forward-thinking approach to new technologies. 850-478-5270 or online at rrbi.co. UPI reports European farmers gathered in protest outside the European Union Council building in Brussels, where they threw eggs, sprayed hay, and shot milk at riot police. The protesters were demanding the EU intervene in decreasing prices for their products after the recent fall in demand for produce due to the Russian embargo on Western trade and a fall in demand from China. The fierce protest forced Brussels police to close the entry into the EU building. Farmers were calling for an end to taxes on their products and an end to bureaucracy they believe undermines competitiveness. The protest in Belgium follows similar protests across Europe. On Thursday, more than 1,300 farm tractors and 6 convoys descended on Paris. In Brussels, the ferocity of the protesters was unleashed onto police. Barrels of hay were lit ablaze, a combine harvester was used to spray hay on police, a cannon was used to shoot milk, and dozens of eggs were thrown. Protest organizers said about 6,000 farmers demonstrated and 2,000 tractors were used to block traffic in and around Brussels. In Survivor Max by Davi Barker, 11-year-old Max must survive the zombie apocalypse alone in New Hampshire. Slow-moving and non-thinking, the lame brains swarm his home searching for living flesh. Max must apply his Porcupine Freedom Scouts training to plan his escape, but first he must prove that he's too smart to die. Look for Survivor Max on Facebook and Amazon, or read Chapter 1 free at survivormax.com. Reuters reports lawyers for jailed Kentucky County Clerk Kim Davis said on Monday they had asked an appellate court to force Governor Steve Beshear to let her refuse to issue same-sex marriage licenses based on her religious convictions. The lawyers sought emergency relief from the 6th Circuit Court of Appeals, asking it to grant Davis an exemption from the governor's mandate that all county clerks issue marriage licenses. The nonprofit legal advocacy group Liberty Counsel, which represents Davis, said in a news release that their lawyers were seeking an injunction on the 5th day that Davis was in jail for contempt of court after defying U.S. District Judge David Bunning's order to issue marriage licenses to same-sex couples. Local media reported that about 150 supporters gathered outside Carter County Detention Center in Grayson, where Davis was being held, and a group of about 30 demonstrators descended onto Bunning's neighborhood to pass out flyers in support of Davis. The exemption would cover all marriage licenses. The lawyers in their court filing on Monday referred to some of the options they have suggested other than mandating the clerk's name on all marriage licenses. They range from having the county judge execute the issue of licenses to allowing a deputy clerk issue them devoid of Davis's name or authority as Rowan County Clerk. This has been FPP Radio News, online at fppradio.com.